Hi friends, Briggs Wallace here. This video is for you if you feel like you are constantly hitting the glass ceiling in some area of your life, right? Do you go so far, but then you hit the top of where you've been before and you back down instead of going further? Well, this is a common theme in a lot of people's lives. And why? Because we have self-imposed barriers that keep us from our own success. Today we're going to be going over the theory popularized by Gay Hendricks in his book, The Big Leap, called the upper limit problem. Now, he believed the upper limit was a self-imposed barrier that limits how much success, love, and happiness that an individual allows. So it's a self-imposed barrier that often is something that we've been taught in childhood through different leaders or parents or coaches or teachers in our lives that taught us that it wasn't really safe to go past those barriers. So what happens is that our subconscious picked that up and took it running, right? Our subconscious said, oh no, every time I get to that barrier, I don't believe it's safe. And so I'm going to self-sabotage in some way to keep me from being happier, to keep me from feeling more loved, to keep me from being more successful, to keep me from being as abundant as I possibly can be. So how does that come up? Well, some examples of how that might show up for people are having a fear of surpassing others, or fixating on things outside of your control, which drains your energy and keeps you from succeeding, or being constantly deflecting praise and not able to accept it, as well as falling sick or getting hurt right when you're about to go a little bit further and succeed a little bit more, or having limiting beliefs about yourself and your feelings of unworthiness and feelings of unworthiness, or not deserving the success or the love, right? So these can all come in sideways and get programmed in childhood and really wreck our boat, right? And we want to get back on track. We want to say, hey, I'm ready for success. I'm ready for love. I'm ready for inner peace and abundance. Bring it on, right? But that is our conscious voice. What we have to work with is our subconscious voice. So the ways that we can address this upper limit problem is to start noticing how it comes in. So I know for me, one way that it comes in is by a pattern, right? And you start noticing the patterns. Start noticing the patterns of stories that you tell to yourself all the time. So is there a pattern? Is there a story from the past that you feel like every time you're feeling good creeps back in and drags you down? That's it. That is the upper limit problem coming into effect to bring you back down. Or is every time you're feeling really healthy and good, do you start craving alcohol and then over drink and then feel really bad the next morning? Oh, that's it. That's your upper limit problem coming in again. Or is there a binge eating that comes in? Or when you've had a great day, better than usual, right? Do you have something that comes in to side sweep it and undercut your legs? That's it, right? So the first way we work with it is by noticing it. For me, I realized that if I was having a really, really good day, I would want to celebrate it with alcohol. And when I celebrated it with alcohol, I inevitably felt great while I was drinking and then not so great the next day, right? It wouldn't matter if it was a little bit or a lot bit. It's not a high vibration. It's not my highest self. I don't need that to feel good. But it wasn't when I wasn't feeling good that I was drinking. It was when I was feeling so good and I would need to add that alcohol aspect into the feeling so good in order to not go above where I had been before of feeling good, in order to drag me back down, in order to not sleep well and wake up with a headache or undernourished, right? So how does that show up for you? I know another way that has showed up for me in the past has been ruminating stories from the past that have hurt me, or people that have betrayed me, stories about people that have betrayed me, right? I'm feeling good. I just met a new babe or a new bro, and all of a sudden, who comes into the scene in my head but my ex-partner and all the ways they disappointed me. And why did they come in? To keep me safe. Subconsciously, to keep me safe, where I know, even though I know the pain, I know it. And the unknown of where there's love and where there's the possibility of loving deeply, but also the possibility of heartbreak, is where my subconscious doesn't want me to go. So that fear comes up to keep me safe and to drag me back down, right? So I know that we all have versions of things that happen like this. Maybe not my way, but definitely your way. So you figuring out what your ways, your upper limit problem creeps in, is crucial for you being able to shift out of this. Because I'm not going to live my life with the limit being here. My limit is there is unlimited potential, right? And I'm going to have the courage to walk out there with the fear, not without it. So I'm going to see that urge to drink, or I'm going to see that urge to tell my betrayal story in my head. And I'm going to say, I see you. You're my upper limit problem. And with that awareness, I'm able to shift it, right? So overcoming, the first step is that awareness. You know yourself. You know yourself so well, you see what's happening when it's happening. You see the faces that your unconscious takes. And then talk back to it. I'm not going to let it go unchecked. And in his book, Gay Hendricks talks about creating a mantra for yourself. So a mantra for me that I liked and adopted from him was, I expand in abundance, acceptance, and love every day in every way. I expand in acceptance, abundance, and love every way and every day. I am worthy here and now, right? So you can create this mantra in whatever way you want to, but that's just what worked for me. And then the third step is committing to living in your zone of genius. Now, we've talked about this in our other videos, but your zone of genius is not necessarily where you're comfortable. In fact, it's probably not where you're comfortable. It's where you're on your growing edge. It's where you're so uncomfortable and where you might flop. You might fall over. You might misspeak, for heaven forbid, and have to get back up. And that's scary because then I might be rejected and then I might fail, right? But your zone of genius is asking you to go there to feel fulfilled, to feel like you know that you're reaching your highest potential. And that's not where you're safe, right? And so part of being devoted to this zone of genius idea is by being willing to say no to things that are comfortable, right? To devoting your time and energy towards things that scare you a little bit outside of your comfort zone. Because if you always do what you're good at, and if you always cater to your strengths that you already have, you won't build new strengths. And then your old strengths have actually become one of your weaknesses. So the last step is in overcoming this idea of the upper limit problem is to identify and actively work on long-held limiting beliefs. So this is where outside help could be really helpful, right? Or maybe you already know. Maybe you know that your dad said blue collar people are better than rich people, right? Rich people are greedy. And you had that as a long held belief that it was bad to be rich. It was bad to have money. And so that affected the amount of money you are willing to allow into your life, right? Or maybe you witnessed somebody go through heartbreak and you thought, I'm never going to do that. That looked horrible, right? And so then, from then on out, your subconscious came in to protect you from feeling great love and deepening and intimacy, because then you wouldn't have to ever feel that heartbreak, right? So you have to start knowing yourself enough to know where you have these long-held beliefs, and you can implement the mantra, I expand in abundance and acceptance every day, and love every day in every way. The appointed time is now. I am worthy here and now, right? So much of this growth and this opportunity is outside of what we know. And we're not going to go there without our fear. We're just going to hold our fear's hand and say, you're going to be okay, as we implement some courage to go there. Doesn't have to look perfect. Doesn't have to look like anybody else's attempt. All it has to look like is you showing up. It is impossible to beat people who never give up. Let that person be you. Give that to yourself. You're worth it. Thanks for joining me on my journey. If you like this video, check out some of my other ones. Like, subscribe, or leave a comment below. I'd love to know more about your journey and what you're up to and where you are. If you're interested in coaching services, check out the link in the description and my website. Many blessings and much love.